hope Jason Trimmer is still married. He was newly married a few years back, and I hope he's still at the Ohio art gallery that he was working at, and I hope everything's going swimmingly for him there. Hi, Matt and Dave. I know this question will cover some ground that has been discussed recently. It's something I've been wondering about, and this might be a good chance to sum things up again. 2021 was the year I updated my phone book collection with all the digital remasters currently available and filled in those trades I hadn't previously owned. I think it's worth restating what a fantastic job Sean Michael Robinson did with the remastered versions. Yes. They are beautiful. They prompted my rereading of the first half of the series. Naturally, I wished Melvin had a remastered edition, and I longed to have a complete remastered set of trades on my shelf. Hey, who doesn't? 90% of the world, 99.99999% of the world really doesn't. The recent news that Waverly Press would be doing a remastered edition of Form and Void was interesting. I'm fine paying $70 for a Waverly edition, but that seems a bit high for the direct market. Maybe I misunderstood, and $70 was just for the Waverly version, and the retail price for a direct market version would be lower. Either way, does Dave think this is the most feasible way forward for getting the remastered editions out there, given the current state of the direct market and the place of the Cerebus trades in it? How far out is he comfortable extrapolating? Is it just one volume at a time, or is there a grand plan for getting the remaining collected editions in print? Thank you both, Jason Trimmer. And you go, this will be good. Okay, the most condensed version of that is when a trade paperback sells out, which it doesn't very often. Then it's a matter of Waverly Press is going to do a hardcover and a deluxe softcover, I think, of Form and Void. I have to, in soliciting for Form and Void through Diamond Comic Distributors, well, Form and Void doesn't exist as far as Diamond or the direct market or the comic book field is concerned. So consequently, what I'm having to do is fire blind on how many of these is Diamond going to get orders for when it's solicited, and Eddie's just sending in the solicitation for it right now. So it should be 3 months or so until we have final orders. How many more copies on top of the actual ordered copies is Diamond interested in getting? And the quote that we had for Marquee printing 300 copies of the softcover, they had a cost of $19 Canadian for each of them. 300 is probably pushing it. I would be very surprised if Diamond sells even 50 copies of Form and Void, even though they haven't had it for years and years and years. And on top of that, if they get orders for 50 or 100, they're not going to want another 900 so that they have them always in stock. So consequently, I just picked the number of $70 out of the hat because at 60 off, Diamond would be paying $28 a copy for the softcover. So that would mean that I'd be making $8 and whatever the exchange rate is on each copy that they sell. It's a hockey stick curve. It's like you have to accept the fact that no new people are going to be interested in Form and Void. Um, it would be nice if they were, but that's going to be decades after I'm dead that Foreman Boyd would be of interest to anyone. What's that?
The only upshot to selling Foreman Void right now that I see is it's two-prong. On the one hand, it's been out of print for long enough that service collectors are seriously trying to find this book. So a new printing might sell just on the it's been out of print for so long it goes for $100 on eBay or whatever. The second prong is that it was mentioned in Hemingway in the Comics, which was a book about Hemingway in the comics, and Sean had done some remastered covers so that they could solicit, say where Hemingway appeared. And so contacting the guy that wrote that might help drum up some interest from the Hemingway people. But yeah.
Okay, dealing with the second one first, Eddie suggested, can we get him to write the introduction? And it's like, I wasn't very kind to Ernest Hemingway in Foreman Void, so I have no idea if he's, just in barely Dave tolerant category, just because of that. I have to include it because it's obviously a big work that features Hemingway in the comics, so I can't absolutely cancel it. But, I'm going to have a very, very brief contact here, and then that's over with. The other thing is nobody in the comic book field knows that Foreman Void is going for $100. Only Cerebus fans that are looking for it know that it's going for $100. And the ones that are looking for it aren't people who are listening to this or reading A Moment of Cerebus, because they're just Cerebus fans. I'm not interested in 21st century Dave Sim. I absolutely loathe and despise Cerebus in Hell with a question mark. I might buy Strange Death of Alex Raymond, but probably not. I just want to get Foreman Void, so that I can complete my Cerebus trade paperback collection. And for a lot of the people, then I can actually read the whole story. Like, I've stopped at going home, and I can't keep reading until I get that book. But they're not going to find out that it's been published. They will just be shopping on eBay and trying to talk themselves into paying $100. It's I have to keep emphasizing how much Dave Sim is capital L La Riv. Nothing with Dave Sim goes viral. No one is going to find out about this because the cancel culture people who are running our society are very, very good at going, no, this guy is shut down. You are not going to hear from this person because, as Justin Trudeau puts it, he has, quote, unacceptable views, unquote. And the cancel culture people and the feminists and Justin Trudeau are the people who have elected themselves the arbiters of whose views are acceptable and whose views are unacceptable.
Well, I mean, if Brian and I can get the word out, it might get a couple hundred extra copies. I mean, I don't see a print run of 500 or more being feasible. I mean, 500, I see Diamond ordering 500. That way they got a couple hundred extra right away for reorders. But if this, I mean, because didn't it take like a decade or two to get out of print? Yeah, but it's, it's going to come down to a conversation with Tim Linehan at Diamond Comics, which is one of the few things that I've got going for me
in the comic book field, if he's still in the position that he's in, that he's moved up to a much higher level at Steve Jeppy Enterprises, and he used to be my rep at Diamond and went to be, became the supervisor for the reps and, the head of the purchasing department. Excuse me. So when it came time to do another printing of the Cerebus trade, I could phone Tim and leave a phone message saying, "It's Dave Sim. I know you're dreading hearing from me, because if you're hearing from me, I'm hacking around for getting you to take 1,000 copies of a book that you probably can only sell 20 copies a year of. But here I am." So I've been putting off that phone call and that conversation until it does get to the point where I can say, okay, Diamond solicited for a Foreman Void softcover at $70 a copy. They sold 70 of them. How many more copies are you comfortable buying? And please, Tim, I've known you for years and years and years, and you've always been a stand-up guy. If the answer is, Dave, I just have to say no. We can't sell these. Nobody's interested. It would be nice if we could single-handedly uncancel you, but we can't uncancel you. All we would be doing is putting a bunch of unsellable books in our warehouses. And we're not in a situation of being able to do that. So, I've called in so many favors of Tim and Matt Demery keeping Dave Sim in a ball game that we all know Dave Sim isn't in anymore. And I'm just not going to do that anymore. It's, the worst that happens is there's these gaps. And there has, I don't know if the situation was what Matt Demery said it was, where he did finally check the trade paperbacks that had sold out from Diamond. And he said, okay, the system's supposed to automatically kick out a purchase order when the quantity gets down to such and such. It's a tripwire, and it will get a purchase order to you. And he says, I can tell looking at this, it hasn't been doing that. You've got like 4 or 5 books here that are down to 0 or down to very, very low numbers. So I'm going to have to go in manually and figure out what quantities we're going to order of these. And he ordered probably about 8 books, 7 books, that most of them were Cerebus in Hell with a question mark, trade paperbacks, Latter Days, and Melmoth. And across the whole thing, I mean, Rolly went and got all of the books from the storage unit, brought them back to Camp David, and it's a pretty big pile of books. And then he takes them over to packaging too, and they repackage them to Diamond specifications, which are very, very exacting, and then send them by UPS. But the total purchase order was, $2,500 US. I would imagine between Rollies going over to the storage unit and packaging to their labor charges for repacking these in these specific boxes and what UPS is going to charge to get them to Diamond, probably most of the 2,500 is going to be gone. It's like there's no and then suddenly the Cerebus trade paperbacks just started selling like gangbusters. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. And so getting back to Jason, your question, when can I get a remastered Melmoth? When sold the last, I forget however many copies of Melvin there are, 157. Diamond just ordered like 34. So, there's probably another 4 or 5 years supply of Melmoth before we get to the remastered stage. I mean, it'll get remastered, but getting turned into a book is a whole other category. The next one will be the last day. The last day is the next one after Form and Void. But, we don't want to be doing Waverly Press bells and whistles hardcovers back to back just because, if you have to pay that kind of a price for Form and Void, you're not looking to pay a price like that for the last day 3 weeks after that. So
I know.
Those are. Go ahead.
I know because our good friend Jesse Lee Herndon asked me when's the Form and Void remastered Waverly Press coming out, and I'm like, I don't know. I can ask soonish. And I asked Dagan, and Dagan's like, it's going to be a couple of weeks, but when I get the link ready, I'll send it to you so you can know. I'm like, I just wanted to know, like, within a month. Like, it sounds like it's coming up real soon.
Let me interrupt. Go ahead.
It sounds like it's going to be real soon.
Well, I thought that the solicitation had already gone in, and we were waiting for the numbers because we have to take the numbers from Diamond and however many charity numbers Tim Linehan's willing to give me, and the Waverly Press numbers, and put that all together into one print run. So we're going to have an awkward situation where the Form and Void Kickstarter is going to be done, but the actual fulfillment on it is going to be even slower than Waverly Press is ordinarily. So everybody's going to have to be patient with that. And speaking of having to be patient, it's my last prayer time.
Okay.
So I will be back momentarily.
All right, that works.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.